Good evening, for Enterprise fans, and welcome to the finale of the Survivor Hero Island club season. My name is Garen, the club captain and organizer of the somewhat silly plot scripts that we've been dealing with for about 3 or 4 months now. I'm joined here in the booth with Joker Mage, my co-commentator and also part collaborator on this club lore, at least. How you doing tonight, Joker?
Sorry, I had the helmet on, and it really muffles your voice. And this Dark Knight armor really chafes.
Yeah, that is true, but you haven't to work for Gold as in a production anyways. Uh, so he'll figure it out eventually, I'm sure.
I mean, to be honest, I thought I was just mostly going to be doing Starbucks runs, but apparently he had other plans.
Yeah, Gomez is having the money for Starbucks, unfortunately. Also, I give a shout out to Radio Caller, who's doing the VOD restreaming in the background, and Gretham, who is doing the tracking in behind the scenes. So thank you very much for volunteering. Couldn't have a production without all the wonderful volunteers to make this all go. So this is the Kain hero seed, and the title, at least, of this episode was given as, oh, let's see, what I call it again. Kain makes all the deals with all the things, but he won't do that, will he? Um, the wacky flag that was picked for this particular race was Titan. Now you might be wondering, what on earth does Titan have to do with anything for Enterprise? Well, as so many of the wacky flags have been self-referential to me and my gaming history, I used to play World of Warcraft once upon a very, very long time ago, and my spec of choice was the Fury Warrior. And the signature move there is Titan's Grip, which involves dual wielding two-handed weapons in both hands. So therefore, our wacky flag is actually Omnidextrous, which is always a fun time for everybody.
Yeah,
So
my World of Warcraft history was mostly as a Restro Druid, so I spent a lot of time as an Ent.
yes, yes. Also, depending on which expansion or which patch, also time on the bench for that particular spec, as I recall. But you go back a long way when some specialists were not viable at all. So, anyways, um, yeah. So also the quest envelope picked by our racers was let's make a deal. This package involves all of the trading deals in free enterprise. Along with obviously, the whole thing about Kane and making deals, like trying to get a Rosa out of the deal from Golbez. I'm not sure that's going to work in this particular seed, but Kane is certainly not averse to dealing as far as it goes. So we've got complete the Tower of Zot, trade away the Rat Tail, forge Legend Sword of Adamant, return the Pandiong's wife, trade away the Pink Tail, unlock the Pastor and Troya, and just as the flavor quests on the side, we've also got complete the sealed cave and complete cave magnets, which, although not really necessarily trading quests, is involved in a little bit of dealing with the sealed cave. Trading a trail of the party for darkness crystal and cave magnets. There's at least a little bit of a deal with the heart going on in there.
Yeah, and Cave Magnet's also how they got the Earth Crystal to try and trade for Oped Zot.
Yes, yes, it's definitely a very Kane-centric set of flags here, and I'm sure Kane will be enjoying himself because, hey, he gets to wield all the weapons this time. I have adamant armors for him, but we've got crystal swords. We can find them, or X-Scales, or whatever else you please. Maybe an Abeland.
Yeah, this is almost like that internet meme where you just like start with the paperclip and you trade it for a pen, you trade the pen for a deck of cards, and eventually you own a house, which is amazing in this market.
That is true. If you are selling houses or if you're buying houses, you're doing pretty well today in this market. But speaking of houses, our races are going to be limited to just simply tents or cabins if they can find them. Uh, they should be having too much of a problem. I mean, the shops are still on the standard setting. Uh, the Treasure's Wildish Max Tier 6. We are still on the 4.5 branch, so They can get some nice stuff over in Castle Eblin or in a lot of the overworld boxes, as it were, depending on which one they decide to go for.
And if I'm correct, that also means inflation hasn't hit the life potion market, correct?
That is correct. Life potions are still cheap. You can basically buy a life for about what was the current wage here in the blue planet? About 15 gold pieces an hour, so maybe about 10 hours worth of work. Uh, but anyways, after the end of this race, we'll be announcing also the hero of the season, as it were. So you can see that there's already set up the podium for first, second, and third place. And Golbez has already moved. It looks like a treasure chest with some sort of thing in it. It's pretty large over there, right next to the campfire. It's kind of making a bit of vibrations over there, so who knows what that's about? But I'm sure it'll be a bomb. I think we're about ready to get started, though. So let's see what our racers did with this lovely seed that I ended up rolling for them.
It looks like it's Jazzer and NeuroCAD are the racers for today.
Yes, Jazer and Nerocod have kindly volunteered their VOD reviews. So, and here we get going with Kain, and we've got Alum
And the
with a
good
good doctor
doctor.
giving us a hook. There's something very appropriate about a doctor having a hook, especially this doctor.
So these have been a hook route pretty much as far back as I remember. I don't know if there was ever like an option to turn it off or on, but I remember most of these being hook routes. So getting to start with hook is already a pretty decent advantage.
Yeah, this actually was a flag setting that the racers turned on because the racers like to give themselves pain. It wasn't originally forced, but it is now.
And there we saw the naming way telling them about the ambidextrous.
Yeah, so the thing with Omnidextrous is anybody can equip anything in any slot. So King can wear 3 heroine robes on the hands, on the chest, and on the head. No matter how bad it looks fashion-wise, that's totally allowable. Or 2 shields if you'd like. You can wield 2 crystal swords if you can't normally wield them. Anything goes.
Yeah, and the crystal swords haven't been really anything more than a money stick in the last few ones because no one could wield them, but we have a solution to that now.
Yes, Kane is definitely relishing the thought of getting his hands on a holy sword and not getting burned by actually touching it for a change.
One of the fun things I remember from Omnidextrous is that the black swords and darkness swords that Dark Knight Cecil wields can actually be equipped by Porum because I think they actually give wisdom.
Yes, they do give wisdom, so it does help Black Mage out. It also makes the Black Mage a little bit faster because it has agility on it too. Considering that Palom is, most mages are, somewhat slow in this game's agility settings. We see that Jazer is choosing to do the Damesian basement. Is finding not all that much there. And Nurukad is heading over for Castle Eblin, which in this and a lot of other flag sets is a pretty popular place to go.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. There's just a great chance, at least under 4.5, there was a lot of great chance to get some really decent high tier stuff here.
yeah, and the beta branch and 4.6 is not going to be quite as generous. And if pro settings are on, it's going to be not really that great at all because you won't be able to get anything really, really super high end out of the boxes here.
And both
But
of I was just going to say both racers are taking advantage of that early hook to just go ahead and do early hovercraft since they can.
yeah, it makes sense because you're gonna have to launch to get underground anyways at some point, and you've got to trade away both tails. So there's no chance you're gonna be able to leave the hovercraft where it is. So get out of the way. Why not?
And there we see that the antlion has fallen from the moon, is just hanging out in a waterfall.
Even antlions need to bathe,
But
especially
fortunately, completely,
especially after laying us all those sand rubies.
yeah, and fortunately that means the antlion's completely unnecessary for this since there's nothing going to be behind that waterfall we'll care about, and antlion itself isn't required.
We might see it taken if we get a Fu early enough where we might want to power level him up because that's a pretty free fight to take once you've got a few levels. Who is hiding somewhere in this seed, is restricted, so can't show up until at least the hook route. But if Fu is on the hook route, they can get him right now because Jazer is diving to see who this character is, it looks like.
I imagine Neurocat's going to be fairly close behind since Neurcat is also in Evelyn right now.
I think we see hourglasses here for sale. That's a nice thing. Especially with the trap that being on here, all of the boxes could potentially have key items.
Yeah. And additionally, that Evelyn shop is a higher tier shop too, if I'm correct. So having access to it early is a wonderful check.
We have a nice early Leviathan orb, which would be something if we had access to Iridia. We don't, so it's just simply fancy looking money.
That rune axe could potentially do some work against magic enemies.
Yes, especially if it's paired up with something else rather bruising, like I'm trying to think what's a good high attack power thing here besides the Holy Sword. What the heck? Oh, guys, maybe making an assassin dagger or something.
Yeah, and that's one of the fun aspects of the Omnidextrous is you can just get a high damage weapon in one hand, and then an elemental damage, and they sort of share their stats in that sense.
We have some sort of a leg giving a burn to Palom. So no real help here on the character situation. We already got Palom. And we don't know if that is going to be quarter or full leg sitting over on the hook route for us.
Now, at this point, would you continue on with the hook route, or would you back out and see if you could find a character somewhere else on the overworld first?
Well, considering that Ruby uses glare and that's kind of deadly in this particular spot, I'd probably want more than two characters just because that spot's very fast and I don't want to be playing Life Roulette.
And if you do have to play Life Roulette, it's always best to have friends around.
Yes, a Russian roulette with a two-chamber firearm is probably not ideal for the situation. Another rune axe for Jazer.
And Neurocat's getting the same bad news.
Oh, but there's a rune ring and a Gaia helmet for Palom. Those are both pretty much best in slot if we were doing slots in this case. There's a dwarf axe, silk web.
And is back row glitch enabled with this flag set?
I had to have some mercy on them. Yes, it is enabled.
All right, so that does let us back row pretty much everyone since it is omnidextrous.
Yes, although pretty much that boomerang we found earlier could do it. I think shurikens can do it. Bow and arrow will still do it, even though it's not. You got penalty to bows and arrows in this flag set with ambidextrous. Any of the back row, anybody will work. You can even probably back row Yang if you wanted to do that, because Yang is with us, I believe.
Looks like Neurocat's going for a shield build. I don't know how much damage that does, but I bet Kain will probably survive a bit longer.
Yeah, if the intention is to keep somebody alive, double shield is definitely usable. We'll see an early play for the Dublin Castle because there's a crystal ring there for Kain. So Kain's got some pretty good damage potential going there with some good defense. And Palom, well, Palom needs a little bit of help.
Yeah, and that so that was also looks like a lightsaber, and as we mentioned before, boomerang dwarf axe for getting back road. And the dwarf axe can also be used to lower agilities for some of the non-hero characters. Or I'm sorry, lower the agility for someone.
Kain can be an anti-hero at times. He might want to lower his team's agility. I don't know. I'm not going to judge in this case, but yeah, if Kain is a very speedy character normally, but with ambidextrous, we can lower his agility by up to, I think, 65 points in this flag set if we find curse rings for sale and if we find some drain spears for sale. But we can make Kain slower than Malak if we decide to choose to, but I don't think the runners are probably going quite that way, but every time I say this, the runners will do something that I don't expect. So I shouldn't curse a seed that's already finished. 8 minutes in, no objectives. Well, um, especially in this flag set with ambidextrous, you want to get some good power early on. I think. So I think this is a pretty standard play, just to do your looting, get enough to go through the seed, and then just go.
Yeah, and here's where you want that rune axe, because those mad ogres are pretty sure will fall to that.
Yes, and we have hourglasses, so those ogres are going to just stand there and look befuddled as they get destroyed by a rune axe.
Ooh, silent staff, that will also do the trick.
Yep, Silent Staff has the anti-mage property on it, so it's like wielding a mute knife.
Meanwhile, against the Staleman, Palm goes down pretty quickly. That Hourglass came out, though, so we might have a chance to get through this.
Yep. Now, with these, I believe I would say the Charm Claw would actually work pretty good, although so would an Ice Brand if we had it. They are weak to ice. And they're giants, so if we had something that was against giants, that would also work in this case.
Okay, now he decides to pick Palm up after taking out one of them.
Jumps, exposes a Palom, but it looks like it's going to be okay. So, early bit of power.
Yeah, definitely getting some levels on the team.
Glass helmet, that's nice. Look on the bright side of your card. All of us who fought with the inventory boss ever in a seed have always clung to all that stuff, and then we never use any of it, and then the seed's over.
Yeah, this way you can use the glass helmet as a piece of legwear.
Are you wearing it on the kneecap or on the foot?
I mean, if you have more than one, you could probably make some decent, like, protective gear out of it. I also had a question about that. Lore-wise, is it a glass mask or is it a glass helm?
I never considered that one before.
Here we got the Black
Or
Cat
you-
Lamia fight going on.
I just considered it could also be a glass scarf. That might be a bit fun.
And, you know, as long as it's not a glass fedora, I don't think that'd be what we're after. And hey, we've got character number 3 now.
I only see 2.5 characters on my screen. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, Yang is probably the character that benefits the least from Omnidextrous, as I recall.
Yeah, Young can put weapons in both hands, but his damage from it doesn't actually use any of the attack power from those weapons. So, Yang is a bit of a paper can until he gets some levels, and with Omnidextrous, ideally, you're not trying to get a whole lot of levels, especially as the grinds. The popular ones are all pretty much a no-go in this flag setting because you can't use Sirens to get experience on encounters. I'm pretty sure do this here. Yeah, there's a couple other things on the flag set that prevent getting levels. Oh yeah, having party 4. Can't slingshot anybody.
Did they turn on the split XP thing as well?
That wasn't offered. I'm sure someone would have chosen if I had, though. I'm pretty sure that someone would have been a wise guy and selected party 1 if I had offered it. So you kind of have to know your races at a certain point in time and keep them from picking things that are just bad for playable seeds. This is not the Bad Ideas Club. That is somewhere else.
We did see a black shirt, so that could go on the kid for a bit.
It was kind of funny with Omnidextroson, your best in slot list kind of changes.
Right.
Normally with North Palom, you'd like a Gaia helm, you'd like a Sork robe, you'd like a rune ring. In this case, you'd like 3 tiaras, because those are his best in slot here. Oh, and we see a holy sword from the Castle Evelyn. So once again, a holy sword is located in Evelyn Castle. Apparently, King Arthur must have lived here at some point and just left all of his X-Kills hiding behind. And speaking of X-Cals, Nerukad finds 1.5 of the classic X-Cal forge here in the Antlion Cave, the Adamant, which is one of the many trade items we need in order to get through this seed.
Yeah. So we got half an objective now.
Half an objective, half character. Maybe we can trade them for one of full of either one.
More Palom.
And purple robe. Oh, Mylon and friends. Somewhat annoying here, but we have AoE now, so it's okay.
And we see that Jazer just did the fun thing of getting rid of Milan first, but luckily didn't give the zombies a chance to get revenge.
Why is that a bad thing, Joker?
Because the zombies really like Milan a lot, and they really adore him. And when you take away their idol, they get rambunctious, like really rambunctious.
That's a shame we can't see that on stream today, because that would probably be a bit hilarious. But I think our runners are used to the fact that yes, you don't want to leave spare zombies up without their leader.
And that was a really fast Val.
With a rat tail, so value. We can turn that in right away if we want.
Yeah, we may just have a duplicate Palom there, but that rat tail is an objective. We already have the hook thanks to starting with it, so that, and Nurkad's just right behind, so won't take too long to get through this either.
Now, an interesting question on this flag set, which is sort of deliberate the way it went, was do you do Mount Ordeals or do you not?
Yeah, and I would wonder if it's just a question of at what point do you realize like, oh, Ordeals is required, assuming it was required? Because like, how much do you have to check before you realize, okay, I probably should have done that several minutes ago?
Well, it depends on what exactly it's gating. I mean, if for some reason, let's say Ordeals has a demist somewhere and maybe it has any one of these trading items, then it's hard required. But you might not realize it for quite a while. Because if you do a fade, the typical rule of thumb is you stick to your fade, and since there are all the main checks, all the summon checks, all the moon checks, and all the box checks, including the lunar subterraneans boxes, you've got a lot of checks that you can go through before you realize, oh, it's there, isn't it?
I remember earlier in the season there was one of these where something very important was at Flame Doggo, and that kind of decided the match based on who went to Flame Dog first, if I remember.
Yes, the classic troll is when the flame dog happens to have the earth crystal, and then the earth crystal is similarly required, like it is in this seed. So yeah, if for some reason, for example, Doggo is holding earth crystal, that's very bad because that gates an objective, and if Dot has anything else, you have to get there at some point. Is Kain using a bandana as a banana hammock? We can't comment on that.
We did see that the rat tail turned into a tower key, so that's one more thing to check once we get underground.
Yes. Technically speaking, you could have traded the power key, I guess, for explosion to the face, but that isn't really a trade anyone would want to make in normal life, even on a game show.
Okay, and so Jazer is going to go find Yang behind a turtle. and we'll see. I mean, I don't. I imagine he'll get it just because you need an extra body to can toss life potions around and nothing else. But they are more or less in parity at this point.
Yeah, I think, well, other than the fact that the game won't let you decide if you want young or not at this stage because there's not enough characters, it looks like unless there's another key item somewhere in this overworld that gives us a character check, our hook route is limited to just these three: Kain, Palom, and Yang. And yeah, at least Yang comes with a whole boatload of HP if you get him up a few levels. But power-wise, Yang is not going to be contributing all that much to this team.
And like you mentioned, this could be a Flame Dog troll or an Ordeals troll as well.
It could. Either one of those is totally possible.
Because if either of those has Earth Crystal, you're definitely checking Zod because that's two potential characters. I think we can only pull one, but there's a chance that one of those two is going to be Fu.
Yes, unless this is one of those particular trolley seeds where it's like there's only one food that roll into the seed, and it's at the giant, which you don't have to complete this time around, so you're never seeing it. Which would also be bad because who is our only potential white mage in this seed? Because Rosa and Porum were both voted out of the pool earlier by the racers. The earlier thing about keeping the racers from themselves, I did not count on them doing that. So I make Yang a lot more valuable than normally he would be. But yeah, ooh, not Yang.
Yeah. And we did see Neurocad put the Runa Axe and Ice Brand on Fu, so even though he's not going to get the power bonuses, I think he does get the elemental and status effects, so he can do some damage to fire enemies and to mages.
Yeah, Yang does not benefit from the attack power, but we'll get any of the stats and any of the weapon bonuses at the very least. If you want to see two crystal swords do the least amount of damage possible in the world, you can put them both in Yang and just wonder why it's all taking so long.
And then you go and attack like Octo Mammoth.
Yeah, crystal sword strikes for one. Well, Neurocon is going to do the mountain.
Yeah. Now, in your mind, does Omnidextrous prompt you to do more looting just in case there is something you could really use for a character?
I would say it should incentivize more looting early just to get, some elemental weaknesses to make sure you've got, at least one or two decent weapons for somebody. Since you can stack stuff on one character, it's like you only really need to fit out maybe one or two at the start. And then after that, it's like just collect the loot and, may at a larger boss or at the end, then you sort of, set your team a bit more.
And we did just see Neurocad swap over to Lightning Weapon for Kain to get through that Odin ever so faster.
It's Odin and Ogopogo. So Mount
I think we were about to make the same joke.
Yeah, Mount Ordeals has got the big O on it today. And maybe it'll be a trifecta and the officer will be the third one.
Are there any other O bosses in this?
Someone else knows the same anime. Okay, so oh yes, Octomam. So yeah, there's more than one choice here for another O.
And as we discussed, that'd be perfect for that double crystal sword Yang.
Well, if we found the crystal swords yet, they have to be at least a little bit hidden. I mean, we're still in the overworld here.
Yeah, but this is, I guess, where we're seeing the divergence because Jazer's not going to bother with Ordeals, and we'll see if that pays off for Neurocad.
A moment of truth coming right up because we're going to see the item reveal here. If this is not a key item and if this is not a demist, this might be a reset. It's a spoon. Well, it's a key item pile. It's 255 attack power, which is nice because you compare it with anything that's got a lot of stats on the other hand. And it's an Ashura, which, okay.
Yeah, in other situations, this might be a reset. I mean, at best, that would be a dart. But with Omnidextrous, you can actually, you know, put anyone except Yang into some seriously top tier damage dealing.
And because this is for Enterprise, we always just get out some Bard robes for Kain over there and throw them on him and give him a fake harp and have him go to town.
It's good to know that Cecil has just become a paladin and tells learned media wherever he is, even though we know that neither of them are, you know, in this seed. But it's good. It's good for them.
They've been banished to Zero Island, so if you see a mushroom cloud over the ocean somewhere, it might be Tela deciding that it's time to just simply get off of that island, and what they do is if the island doesn't exist anymore. All right, so Jazer's going to show us now, I think, what's at book 1. We'll see if this is naughty or nice. All right. I'm going with some odd fashion choices for a 5-year-old, but it's okay. Sparkle. Oh, it's a plague.
Yeah, so this probably could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, definitely. But plague doesn't have a ton of HP here, and with all the good weapons, yeah, this is down already, so no danger of the count hitting 0.
And it's now time to find out how much leg we're actually going to have to deal with.
But Jesus says, hold that leg. He wants to go and save first, which is always a good idea, depending on, you don't want to have to, go through that first fight again in case something goes wrong with this second fight. I mean,
now, in your opinion, would you rather be fighting elements here or would be fighting Rubicant himself?
To be honest, I would actually probably prefer to see elements here. Reason being is with Palom here and all the good mage gear, throw a Starveil on, reflect some Fire 2s off, and it's only half the HP.
Oh, we got the full deal.
It is full leg, so full leg is not going to have any of those shenanigans. And we go right into a glare, which, while it's weak here, it will still take out that Palom.
Luckily, we have an alchemist named Yang here.
Is Yang full metal?
I don't know. I think he's mostly sinew and muscle. I got the reference, though.
Quad 9s. Yeah, it's not going to be a good day for Ruby here. I think we're going to get Palom up again and then just end it right here. Kain, you failed. It wasn't 3 quads in a row.
But that does mean that Jazer is now has underground access. It looks like Mirkad's still doing some stuff in Evelyn Castle.
Yep, gets the moon veil from the one chest there. I don't think we saw any key items though in Eblin itself when Jazer went through it, so this is experience, but not much else.
I guess the real question is, was the spoon worth the entire time spent on Ordeals?
I would say probably not, considering that X-Scale that showed up in Eblin Castle, because they make that spoon seem a little bit redundant pretty quick.
Yeah, it is a high damage weapon, but we've already encountered some pretty decent stuff already, and it just seems like it was a lot of time investment. I mean, he got through those fights fairly quickly, but even then, there's the cutscenes, the like texts you have to go through, and really, if the spoon was the only payoff, maybe you're a bit faster to get to 10 items. I'm not sure if we still have the 10 item bonus in this flexer or not.
Oh yes, that bonus is still there if they get to 10.
Okay.
Uh, Currently, there's 4 on Jazer's side, 5 on Narocod's side. So, I mean, if the overworld only, let's say, gives you 9, and then you have to go to the moon for your 10th, it's possible that come into play and make Narocod's play really pay off time-wise.
Now, if I was in their shoes, I think I'm prioritizing lower battle because I already have tower key, and there's 4 trap chests in there that we can get the use for the possible key items.
Yes, that would be definitely a play. I mean, 6 checks, which is second most in the underworld. Only Sylph Cave has more, but usually Sylph Cave tends to be a little bit weaker on the value just because the tower is 2 main checks versus 7 boxes, and on the whole, the 2 main checks and the 4 boxes tend to outweigh the 7 boxes. But in this case, I mean, I think that my preference would be it's like you only have 3 characters, you want a Fu, you want an Edge. Go to Dwarf and see if there's one of them here. I do like this play from Jazer. I mean, fill out your party, figure out what you're going to do for your Z earlier because uh, the grinding is not exactly as easy as it was elsewhere.
And summon is on, right? Keys, so there can be key items at the Fey March.
Yes, summon is on every single possible key item location is in the pool that can be. We don't have treasure sanity, but I'm sure if that had been an option, the racers might have chosen it. So no.
So there's if Miss Dragon is one of the monarchs of the Fey March, you've got the monster in a box, or no, there's is there? Yeah, there's monsters in box going up to it. There is the Fey March freebie. There's then obviously the king and queen, and if one of them's the Miss Dragon, that's what 5, 6 potential key items in Fey March.
Yeah, I think that's. I have to do the math in a second. I'm bad at math on the stream, but speaking of substitutions here, we've got DKC standing in for the Man in Black today. So our comedian was not only late, but now he's been replaced by a Dark Knight.
I thought this was the Calbrena spot, but maybe I missed the first fight.
This is. Oh, yeah. Okay, French vanilla location. Never mind. It's been a long day. And we haven't any time to wait for justice or anything like that. We're just simply going to kill it right here on the spot.
Yeah, I think Yang had enough health that he could have tanked it, but if you have the damage output, it's definitely faster to go through it.
There's also some satisfaction having Cecil cut down by an X-Scale, since it so rarely happens.
Well, we know who this is.
Hey, we've seen this sprite before. And unfortunately, it's Yang, so no character boost here. X-Scale, this might just go down one shot, I think. Not quite. Oh well.
And do we remember what was at the Mad Ogre times four chest here in the Upper Babel?
I don't think it was a key item. Oh, crystal ring. Okay, thank you. So yeah, it's the it's sort of like the fool's gold crystal. It's like it's not the sword. It's not the thing that lets you talk to Z. It's just the thing that makes you go a little bit faster. And the passion on Luca's end is a charm rod is now being worn around the neck. I have questions about a dwarf princess wearing a charm rod around her neck. It seems a little bit devious.
I mean, at the same time, this is Omnidexter, so it probably fits with in theme.
Hmm. In that case, Luca should have given us 2 key item checks. All right, Jaser's going to take a play up the tower.
So, like I said, there's 4 monsters in the box. They're the searchers. They will summon enemies if you don't kill them fast enough. Um, if you had edge, you could steal sirens, but sirens are useless in this flag set, so we're not going to do that, and we don't have edge.
We don't have Edge yet. He is in the seed somewhere. And technically, if you really, really want to try for Bacchus wines, you could use a siren to pop one of those off and steal it from the ogres, but I don't think it's really worth the time effort to do that in this flag set. But then again, you don't have any berserk casters unless you get Fu in here, and even then, I'd rather have Fu doing nuke as opposed to berserking people. So we'll see how the runners decide to put all these pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay, I think that's the second monster in a box.
Thunderclaw is very useful for these things, especially since Kain can wear them. That's crystal armor. It's a nice bit of defense if you didn't have any, and it sells for a lot. Looks nice, perhaps, but you know.
Well, there's a fire sword if we need to take on any ice enemies. Here's monster box 3.
And down it goes. Let's see, is there value yet? Is there payoff? Ninja Star is not the payoff. The Jazer also did skip one at the bottom of the tower, so hopefully it wasn't that one, because otherwise we get to the top and realize, really? Everyone's getting the randomizer knows because one you fade is always the one that happens to be it. Always, it seems.
And we're going to go ahead and do the cannon room.
Yes, so we'll trade a power key for some dolls.
So that's why Cecil was at Dwarf Castle. Their dolls were busy here.
It also raises questions about why exactly dolls are being used to blow up Dwarf Castle. I mean, they must really have it in for Luca with how she treated them. And the can be blowed up, so
Yeah, most enemies are not a threat at that spot. Really, it's just the cutscene bosses that would cause problems because then you still have to go through the cutscenes and you're not instantly done.
one time it gets a little bit interesting is if you come down there from the tower, from the top of tower, and let's say you're at less than half health, and then it's Ogopogo, who generally is fast enough to get off that double wave cast before you can take an action. And it's occasionally where that spot gets a little bit tricky, is if you didn't prepare for it before you went in. The mute bell on Jazer's side, that's might be useful for our ghosts in the Sylph Cave later on.
This is our third sparkle we've seen because we've already seen Plague and Ogo.
You want to take bets on which one this is?
D-Lunar.
That would be rather spicy here. Let's see. Well, not that. It is a blazing wyvern. Must have been to B-Dubs recently.
Yeah, Blaze, not really the big scary thing that you would normally be afraid of right at the beginning there.
Yes, but with Kain having a dragon whip and Wyvern actually being a dragon, unlike his cousin Bahamut, not much of a fight here. And there's a darkness crystal.
All right, that's our first bit of value from the tower, I think.
Well, is it value or is it a red herring? Because here's the fun thing. None of our objectives are necessarily on the moon, because none of these quest turn-ins happen to be there. And even though K Moon is on, along with all of the LST boxes, there's no guarantee any of them have value. So it could be early value where it's like go to the moon, win the seed, or it could be you're about to go down the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes because there are, let's see, there's 5 altars, there's cave value, and there are 11 chests between the giant, the air dryers, and the LST. It is a lot of checks, and if you don't get value out of it, you pretty much feel like you've lost the seed, I think.
Was that the chest that did Neurocat check the one that Jazer missed? Oh yeah.
Uh,
So
I would say so because if Narukot has a package in hand, and Chaser just took that encounter, so yes. Narukot apparently found the only value so far in this tower, which is the package. Which, let's be honest, since we were only missing 2 characters in the first place, I mean, if it's got our food, that could be value, but if it's not food or edge, it's kind of, this tower was pretty lame.
how would you feel about Mist Dragon behind the passage package at Kaipo Inn?
Oh, I'd love that, actually, because that's probably the last place our runners are going to check, especially if that package is not a foo. And let's see, the tower key is going to give us a magma key.
Hey, we can get underground.
How deep would you like to dig?
Well, we do
All right.
have a dwarf castle, so I guess we can start diggy holes.
That's true. Or you can do the Fey March because archaeologists have to wonder at some point. Where are all these weird monster skeletons that we're finding coming from? And it looks like you got some newspapers heading your way, Joker. So I would say just save this up and store for motivation. Jazer might be looking for the box of monsters here in the Fey March, or just may try to get some loot.
You may also just really like disco. Flashing lights and all.
One of the many quality of life improvements coming up in the next beta series 4.6 is that the flash effects are disabled by default. So in the event you're like me, you always forget this is a thing to turn off. As long as you continue forgetting, then it will just be off by default.
Okay, monsters were in the middle box.
And Jazer is basically counting on. Oh, there's Kain down. Well, Yang will dodge. So this is perfect.
Yeah, Young
Okay.
needs those levels.
It's only a Masamune, which honestly, on ambidextrous, the ninja swords lose a little bit of their value because since the game was designed with them being dual wielded in the first place, their attack power isn't quite as high as other weapons of the same tier. Yeah, don't worry about Jazer. I always forget the same thing no matter what I'm running, pretty much. So for me, my forgetfulness will now be basically designed around, which is always a fun thing. Also, who are you or what are we doing here?
Hopefully, we're going to be checking this free March freebie. And oh, that's useful.
That's required. That's a pan. Makes you kind of wonder how a monk pan got here into the underground, considering that the monsters do not attack Fabul, as far as we know.
I mean, all I can say from my own experience in the kitchen is I used to have a cast iron Dutch oven, and I haven't seen that in years. So I just assumed that kitchen goods disappear into voids like normally.
I wasn't expecting the kitchen gnomes coming out today, but okay.
I mean, I know they go for socks, but do they also go for kitchenware?
I don't know if your kitchenware includes socks, so I can't answer that question. And to answer the question in chat, yeah, this is Wind Crystal. So sorry to cut your socks in the kitchen story short there, Joker.
I don't know what you're accusing me of now. Like, I don't cook with socks.
No, I thought you might be using it maybe as a dish towel or something like that. It's kind of like the more inexpensive alternative. Also see college life and living it on the cheap.
Yeah, this is a budget cooking with Joker and Garen here. If you don't have any dish towels, just take your socks off.
It wasn't suggesting using dirty ones, for crying out loud. Anyways, we're not here to do a cooking show because we probably get yanked off the air in a few seconds.
So we probably get 2 slices of bread put around our heads and then yelled at by a Scottish man.
We might have been the sandwich, yes. Uh, both the flags being too long and the washing of socks, apparently, Rydia. And yes, the flag set is long. But
We're apparently watching a soccer game because we got some hooligans to fight now.
yes, our lovely alt gauntlet is in the house. The fun thing about this particular set of alt gauntlet fights is that there's a conjurer in several of them. It'll usually be fast enough that it will get off the cast first. And we have these lovely arachnes over here who like to cast Quake.
Now, it's been a while since I've encountered Feymarch gauntlets. Are the gauntlets different for the king and queen spot, or are they the same set of fights?
They are different, which is kind of like, similar to the LST. It's like you've got 5 different altars, there are 5 different sets of gauntlets. This is the one with the king spot, so this is the conjurer one. You don't recall what's at the other one, though. I don't usually tend to fight this fight if I see it down here unless I have no choice. Also, we are treating Yang apparently as a disposable anchor here, so maybe Jay's just getting ready to replace Yang and doesn't really care at this point about the levels on Yang, or just that it's not worth it here. Either which way. we're going to stop the Clapper. That's not actually a bad idea, because that Blitz will almost, well, take our good friend Kane out here.
I think Kain still has that dragon whip too.
Yes, yes, definitely does. Quads. So yes, Dragon Whip is on. And one last fight. This is the dangerous one, the two Clapper fight. Real dangerous here is okay. Well, he took out the first one, but if Blitz had gotten off, would have KO'd Kane.
Yeah, one of the advantages of ambidextrous is you can do some really odd weapon combinations that make some fights far more trivial than they would be otherwise. Hey, there's a other half of our objective.
All right, the Legend Sword. Fitting that our king has the Legend Sword here. That seems appropriate for the occasion.
Did we
Now,
fight orbs yet or not?
I don't believe we have. And to be honest, I might take the gamble that maybe I don't need to kill this orb fight unless I have no choice later on, because you got power, but you still have to get around the fact that CPU fight in this spot is going to take a little bit of time. And you have no healer. At some point, if you don't kill it fast enough, you're going to be just slugging a bunch of Cure 2 pots.
All right, Nurkat's going into the gauntlet.
All right, so first up, the soccer fans. Followed by the three sets of wizards chanting weird things in the stands. Also, shout out to the fact that it's 50 minutes into the seed, and we still have only seen one additional character out of all the checks that we've done.
Hallam's answering that quake with his own quake.
Counter Quake kit would actually be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
And we are going to see the CPU fight.
We are. Now, it'll be interesting to see exactly what Jay's strategy is for this, because if we go YOLO here, I don't think there's going to be enough DPS to get down before we're going to start seeing some globes out. Meanwhile, Nero is on the second last fight of this gauntlet. You see one of the anomalies of this particular flag set, which is that, yes, Palom can melee and actually be halfway decent at it. Heavily me vote everyone off. I will point out, the racers chose who to vote off, so they made their own bed, they're living in it.
Besides, you can see you don't actually need all those other characters. These three are doing fine.
For some values, as fine as they all start to fall to their knees. That Cure 3 is going to get queued right as the big orb goes down, unfortunately, so it's okay. I'm sure there'll be more Cure 3s to buy somewhere. Characters are overrated. Just some of them, Veritas.
Yeah, that got down to the wire. I think Yang and Palom only had one left.
They could take one more. The fun thing about CPU and a lot of these HP-based attacks is they round down. Unless you're at exactly an HP count that ends in 0, you have 10 hits you can take instead of 9.
And it looked like that was just a white spear, which is normally would be a really great find, but maybe not as much in ambidextrous when you have so much more to choose from.
It's a good dart, is what we would say to that, although that requires that we find the edge, who so far has been unfindable.
It looks like NeuroCAD skipped the CPU fight and is immediately going for the turn-in.
Which might be all right. We know it's actually a good play here because there's nothing off of that CPU fight, so this would be a good chance to make up to, about 3 minutes or so by not fighting it. Of course, you don't know that when you're running the seed, but I've often found that Feymarch tends to not have the value. Yep, we got power shirts and crystal rings here in Coco's shop, so pretty good. Right.
So are we seeing that there might be more value than likely not at the moon?
Well, I mean, we're through a lot of the underworld. We only got the Sylph Cave, I think, left here at this point, and I think we haven't seen the Shield of Turns yet either, but we're only at 8 key items, if I count it right. No, 9. Sorry.
We
And yes,
found Ghost One, or one of the ghosts.
yep.
How do you feel about that piggy sword being the reward?
Oink.
No, that's fair.
Ooh, that was an Earth Crystal we just saw show up.
Oh, Feymarch does have value after all.
Yeah, it turns out today the Sylph Cave did roll something of use. Which, Sylph Cave is one of those places where it's like, it can be either really, really good, it can be meh, or it can be terrible.
Okay, so Kain managed to dodge the frogs, or at least get anti-frogged after being frogged.
This is where something like a mute belt can come in handy because I believe these toads can be muted with that. Instead, we're going to just simply take the Toad Lady and make all of her toads orphans. Dead toads. Irukad is going to go and visit the dwarf castle, and we'll be soon realizing that there is a non-key item sitting around Luca's neck today, and none of the bosses we want to see here, and also no character payoff. Dwarf castle is not where it's at today. Oh, and Razor found a Bahamut orb. That would be wonderful to anybody who could use it. Also, just a note, when the siege is over with, please drop that Bahamut orb off in the little wastebasket over here next to Rydia. I'm sure she'd like it. All bowls, okay. They are going to get an attack off.
Yeah, there's a lot of foes here in the Sylph Cave that do status effect stuff.
Yep, and good thing for Jazer here is finding that Earth Crystal early. Has 10 gifts, now the experience in all these chests is doubled. Also good news for Jazer, you got a Drain Spear, which is one of the nicer options to manipulate Kain's agility and ambidextrous seed because, well, actually any seed really, because it's minus 10 agility. It is the best and easiest way to get him lower agility unless you've got a curse ring in the seed, which They are available in the slag set, but at the same time, you're always guaranteed to find one. And so far, I think we have.
Gets that quake off nice and fast.
Yeah, it's definitely necessary because if the ghosts go first here, that could be a wipe. At these HP levels, anyways. And just a golden apple for the reward. Well, and an inventory boss. Okay.
Now, are you going to, if you're in their position, are you going full clear the underground?
If I'm deciding to go self, I would probably be clearing the whole thing. Because I don't want to return to the underworld and actually have to do anything anymore unless I have no choice. Such as, for example, there being a gating key item down here we don't have, like the Luca key.
Yeah, so sealed cave is the only area underground we don't have access to right now.
Yeah, and of course, if it's on the LST, well, that's just what it is. But you kind of hope that, but again, early darkness crystal, like, it's fairly early in this case. Kind of hope that either there's nothing up there if you don't do it, or that if you do it, you hope that there's lots of value up there. You're hoping that one way or another makes the decision your way, but
So unfortunately, Frog Yang took a hit there and did not get any of that extra speed. That looked like Twin Harp.
that is a twin harp, which means that Sylph Cave is hard required because it has at least 2 objectives sitting behind it. So Nirukad is also here in the Sylph Caves, which means that both of our runners are on the right path here. This is a good thing to do before going to the moon, just because, yeah, if you're going to the moon, you're going to clear the whole thing until you've got enough, usually, and you aren't going to find enough on the moon.
Yeah, and having both Twin Harp and Earth Crystal is going to prompt you to go to Toria first.
Yes, it is a bit efficient because this naturally is from Magnus into Troya, just like it was in the vanilla game. Only difference being that we're not going to trade the Earth Crystal in this case. Sorry, I could get the Earth Crystal of Magnus because we already have it. Instead, we'll find something else that apparently is available to trade for Rosa.
And if we find, like, say, Baron Key at Cave Magnus, then we go finish off Zot, and we were right there in Baron to turn that in.
Indeed. I'm not sure if you consider that an example of a helpful chain or just a very, very tedious one.
And Jazer still has not seen Ordeals, and Nurkat has not seen Queen Fae March. So both of them have done potentially unnecessary things that the other has not.
Speaking of potentially unnecessary things, we've got a mom bomb sitting here at Fabul. This seems a little bit overkill for the soldiers that Fabul defense has in the way normally. This would also have been a much longer fight had our runners come to it early in the seed, as opposed to now. Mom bomb always has 9,000 extra HP wherever it sits, so in this case, what should be less than 2,000 HP is closer to just sub 11,000 HP. Crystal Sword doesn't care about that sort of thing, though.
This is another sort of efficient set of checks, just the single dip for Bull.
Oh, it's a Baron key.
Well, there you go.
We're basically getting all the items on the overworld here. I mean, at this point, Moon can at most hold 4 key items along with everything in the LST. Actually, no, I'm sorry, not even 4. It can only hold 3. The Sand Ruby, the Luca key, and the Pink Tail are all that could be there.
So Sheila only had a white shirt and a ribbon.
Well, I think Sheila spent all of her money trying to get that pan down into the Fae March there, so
She should just let the gnomes take it.
And look, unfortunately, Sheila's kind of earned the reputation for having the goods, so as far as I've been told by the producer, she can do what she wants for pretty much the entire rest of her life, and it'll be fine.
I mean, what parcel service actually goes to the underground?
I'm sure there's a lot of jokes to be made right now from everybody in chat about certain delivery services going to the dark side and the underground, but leave that to your imagination. Azer is going to give us music, however, in just a moment. I'm pretty sure she still is Yang's wife, unless there's some sort of drama I'm not aware of in the game.
It may be something in the After Years game that was like a sequel or something to this, right?
There wasn't after years, but it generally wasn't one of those things where it's like everybody is now basically mad at everybody else in the thing. But well, she didn't have a name, that's true. But meanwhile, speaking of the twin harp, it's a randomizer. So one of the fun things to do is randomize things that can be randomized. One of which is Edward's song, because let's face it, the vanilla tune here is a little bit weak, I guess I'll say, from Edward. Fits with this character. So we've got a few hundred harp songs here. DJ Sweetie B is going to play one of those for us now. So sit back and enjoy it all. Well, that was a very brief rendition of the theme from the original Final Fantasy, because yeah, Officer at this stage of the game against an ambidextrous party does not offer much resistance. But hey, we'll take it. That's objective 3 on the board for Azer. Does have a 4th available on the table, but has not forged yet. Okay, Veritas, we'll see you in, depending on which version of the game you're playing, a couple hours or a couple, maybe next morning.
So yeah, pretty much like the best choice at this point is go do Zot. You got the Earth Crystal, you're right there. It's the best choice routing. It's the objective. You might actually find one of the characters you wanted to find earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost 70 minutes into this seed, and we are still looking for anybody besides the Yawn that was available to us right from the start on Mount Hobbs. Azer is going to take the Zot Plunge. This is also sometimes a check people like to fade. But we've got a doggo in a box. We've got 2 more shots at the D-Mist that we haven't seen yet. And we've got 1 key item check coming up. And Rosa with us, she'll learn exit here, but we don't have Rosa. We don't have any exit casters either. So we are hoofing it. Meanwhile, it looks like Nirukata is also going to be heading off to do Cave Magnus. We have a reprise of music coming up pretty soon.
And it's
As
likely going to be as short as the previous one because, again, as you said, Officer Soldier is not a very hard fight at this point.
although I do think that the magic defense might be good here, but I mean, again, you've got Kain, you've got Yang, even though not necessarily best from Yang, it's still plenty good enough here. You
And
found the doggo. Well, that's another objective. It's the pass. So all of a sudden, Jazer is one thing away from go mode. He either needs Pinktail or needs a Luca key.
So if we have a demist up here, or possibly demist at Baron King, because we know that the Beigen spot is just Doctor. But that's potential place to get another key item. Oh,
Well, Sneaky Demus was here right from the start if we wanted to do the cheeky play. Of course, the real troll thing is when Demist here at Zot 1 is holding your underground access, because everybody's going to pretty much last location that unless you are making a play from the trap chest and then trying to come here for this.
I think of the favorite one that I remember seeing at some point was demist at King Queen Evelyn spot had underground access.
That is a trolly nasty spot for that, yes, but it can happen. As far as why we're going out about the Demist Veritas, that's because Kano Free is on, which means that Bedward would normally give you an item. Speaking of which, he's playing now. All right. Well, turns out the Tower of Zot was holding our other two characters all along.
Yeah, so you go underground, you go to Sylph Cave to get Earth Crystal, then you come back up here, and that's how you avoid having to get young.
That's true, but unless you are a dedicated Fade Yang type of runner, I think most runners are going to have Yang the Underground Passage in this case.
Right. I mean, you still do have to get through. I forget what was at the King Queen spot, but it was Rubicon at his normal spot.
I believe it was a Sparkle. Which one was it?
Plague. It was Plague.
Plague.
So we had Plague and Vanilla Ruby.
What text my memory at this point in time? I'm very, very tired from work these days. Aside from the whole helping a comedic villain try to take over the world through television.
But in any case, Jizer now has a white mage.
Yes, I think you might want to call him more of a gray mage, considering all the black magic in there. But we'll see if Fu gets used for healing purposes or nuking purposes. I almost said porpoises there, and my goodness, it's getting a little bit up there.
Okay, and who's going to be at the Val spot?
Not Val. Oh,
It's the boss himself.
Uh, yes. Making sure that you can get your foo and your edge very easily. Kain was too fast. Womp womp.
Now, could you explain to us why that Venom came out?
Sure. So, one of the things about Final Fantasy IV's programming is status effects have a hierarchy, and things that are higher in the hierarchy basically take precedence over things that are lower in it. It turns out that the hold gas is fairly low in the priority queue, so many different status effects will basically give you immunity to the hold gas. This will allow you to do things like, use a Star Veil earlier for safety reasons. You can always punch Golbez in the face before you get done with his speech. There's lots of good reasons to do this if you can. And it turns out that our Shadow Dragon had some fails in terms of trying to kill people, so only lost the foo. We might have cared enough about that to even get him up at this point. The question always from Golbez, why? Followed by a much slower exit than usual.
So, if you're in Jay's spot, do you go over and see what that Miss Rydia's mom has, or do you just go right into Baron first?
Well, I mean, considering that Jazer now has 6 quests basically in his pocket right now, I mean, we're looking for either a Luca key or we're looking for a Pinktail. I think you have to check the Miss Drag. Oh, there's a Luca key. So actually, forget that. We're in go mode. Baron is probably off the table now. Except maybe the stores. We'll do some shopping here, even though we won't just bother to murder the king. Hey, there's tiaras. We should buy a lot of those. Okay, one will work.
Okay,
Again,
so Jazer's path now is go underground, do sealed cave, turn in the or maybe do the turn in first. Yeah, it looks like turn in first, but then do sealed cave, leave sealed cave, turn in the pass, and go punch Z in the face.
That would be the plan, unless Jazer feels that extra levels are required, in which case we might see a grind come up here. I think the quickest grind on the table to do is the doors here in the sealed cave, which is that's on your objective route. Maybe you'll do them here.
And so Neurocat's one Golbez fight away from finding out that same information, and Neurocat's already done the Legend Swords. He just needs to go do Sealed Cave at that point.
Yep. Well, Veritas, I think you're actually right about that. It looks like the moon is going to be a lonely place to see, because as long as Jazer and Nerukad feel good with their power levels, even raising the whale is not really required in this seed. Guys, get some good news about the piggy sword. Not the worst thing we could possibly get here. There are lousier things like scrap or Caliburn or something like that.
I'm guessing the excitement just got to Jazer, and he got ahead of himself there.
Oh, well, not like any of us have never done that on stream, right? All right, so Nirukad is about to have a comedy encounter of the third kind. And Jazer's going into the sealed cave. Trigger the Kain betrayal music on this one, or something like that, in the middle of the game.
Now, what bosses are left that would be particularly nasty at this spot?
Hmm. I gotta think about that one here.
We do see Jazer doing a door grind for the levels.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's got the well, really, when you think about it, has all the key items at this point except for the spoon and the tail and the sand ruby. So, I mean, most experience up there. You can still get them off the doors, and with Kane being this fast, you might actually get the kill off before it actually kills anybody.
Yeah, then I definitely like
Oh,
the idea. Like, if you are still feeling underleveled, here's the
okay, wait.
perfect spot to do it.
Apparently, you don't get EXP for these things. I didn't even realize that.
Oh, there's no XP for them?
Apparently not. See, I haven't done a door grind in forever, so I didn't even realize this. So, looking at the party here, it looks like Al's about 7 levels behind what's needed for nuking things. So we'll see afterwards if Jazer decides to go take some levels or decides just simply go for Z, go for broke, go for glory, whichever one you want to call it.
So where would we go for levels? Would we go ahead and do maybe Baron Castle, get some levels there?
Well, isn't this funny? The Pinktail is here in the sealed cave. So the moon is completely haunted in this case. We know this now. As far as we get experience here at this point, I mean, the fastest place might actually be the giant. Just go through that and take the 2 fights there. Plus there's split experience, that's close to what? Not quite 500,000 points, something like that. And the stone guards will be guarding the bridge until the Monty Python crew comes along and gets asked a question about swallows. And Jace is going to do the warp glitch out of the sealed cave.
It looks like Neurocat's still setting up things for his sealed cave run.
Yep. Meanwhile,
Oh,
oh, it's going to take Baron. Interesting. Unfortunately for Nerocod, since we're in no mode here in the booth, we already kind of know this play is not going to lead to anything really, really good. The most it can lead to is a Sand Ruby. I mean, we've already been through Zot, and it's like we have all the carrots we need, so... At this point, just hoping that the bosses are relatively quick here.
And Jazer's going to flex and turn into Pinktail, I guess.
It also means that if Jazer wants to do a grind on the LST, I can just simply go there and go straight to Z.
Or is this going to be an adamant?
No, they can't be adamant. The no adamant flag is on here.
Okay.
So, first we're gonna get a crystal from the Pinktail turn-in, which is not the actual objective turn-in. Oh, an Avenger.
Okay,
Boss.
that's useful.
Jazer was hoping for an Avenger. He got one. Although I do sort of wonder about the wisdom of giving Kain Clan. It takes away his free will to do things. That didn't tend to go very well for the party in the vanilla game. We'll see how that plays out here.
And the good doctor goes down very fast.
Well, he does charge something like 10 gold pieces per second that he's trying to give you consultations. So the sooner he goes down, the cheaper our doctor bill. And Nurkad's going to do the basement first.
I'm wondering if this is just to get some experience and some levels.
It could be. As a dark elf, that's not going to be too challenging in this spot. Because that holy sword is going to basically destroy it. It is unfortunately a very fast dark elf. And Jazer is... turning in the pass. Doesn't need to. Is this going to be a Z fight right now? I guess so. Meanwhile, the dark elf in the basement had a holy sword.
Another one for the pile.
You have no idea, Joker, how many holy swords there were in this seed. I'll give you a count, though, when we get there. So, we have some Z flags sitting in chat. What's that all about, Joker?
Well, it's bedtime. I know you said you were tired. I'm getting pretty tired too, so maybe we just need to take a nap.
I can't nap just yet. Anyways, this being a randomizer, I like to randomize lots of things. We can't randomize Z because Bang Bang doesn't work very well anywhere else. So we don't randomize where he is. We just basically give him a costume change. So we always say, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
And will that but help us with the tax audit since we forgot to pay taxes last month?
Never say that out loud. We've got Zeromus sitting over here. So
That's like the mother of Sephiroth.
unknown. Also, this Genova is extremely fast. That on a shake already? There's the shake. And the Baron trash can today holds a protect ring. Kain agility is rough on Z, especially if Kain is not anywhere near either 28 or 42. Especially in this case, 28. And that's a reset.
So in this case, you want to see if you can do anything to get Kane's agility into a slightly different spot, right?
Yeah, we've got some manip gear. We've got crystal rings to make people faster. I know we got a drain spear at the least. Drain spear will lower Kane's agility by 10. That would definitely be a help to get him a little bit slower.
If we still have that dwarf axe, that's another 5 that you can lower it by.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, if we had cursed rings, we could load up to 3 of them on Kane to really make him stink. Although in that case, he ain't doing anything for the Z fight if you have 3 cursed rings on him. At that rate, he'll barely be able to actually breathe because he's gonna have such low stats. Oops. Irkod has hit the 2 joke ropes here that we have in the sealed cave. I think the developers put those there just to toy with you. Okay. So James was clarifying the agility situation in chat here. Was it 28, which is ideal number, just the way that Z's agility happens to be and how it all sort of gets put by the game. 27 agility is probably about the worst setting to take Z on. 28, meanwhile, is comparatively bliss. Not that any Z fight is really kind of bliss unless you are literally like level 60 to 70 and everyone in the party is swinging a crystal sword because there's just been so many of them. Something like that, you know.
Okay, and Neurocat has found his pink deal.
All right. So Neurocod is definitely in go with having everything except the Sand Ruby at this point. Just has to turn in these last couple things. It'll be off to Genovamus.
Now, if the Sand Ruby was happened to be held by Rydia's mom, which we didn't actually go and check, that means the moon was completely gone. Like, there's absolutely nothing.
Which would be pretty hilarious for a seed that has K Moon in the objective flag set to actually not have anything on the moon. But then again, this randomizer likes to fake people out occasionally. Especially with my roles lately in the club, it's been just trolley after trolley after trolley in one way or another. It looks like Jaser's gotten the Berserkers back up, and hopefully with this being fairly powerful on these 2 parts, it will get through to the reset phase pretty quick. There's a shake.
Yeah, so Fu's topping everyone off.
Although this being an unnerfed Big Bang at this point, really only Kain is going to survive and maybe Fu if this doesn't get stopped, basically.
Direct cast the buyers to hopefully nerf it.
Hopefully, although it looks like it's going to do Kain pretty dirty.
Had that Cure 4 in the back pocket just for that.
Yep. Although I think based on what Z is doing, that was a fake shake, so we're back now to real shake again. Fake shake in there basically is Z hit the reset HP mark before that shake could resolve into a Big Bang, so that first Big Bang was canceled, and now we're on to the second one. Again, we're going to try the virus nerf. Oh my. And we lose Palin from that. But in this setup that Jigs got going, Yang and Kain, Edge and Kain are the real DPS stars here. I don't know where I got Kain from. Sorry, Yang, it's not even here. Okay. I'm apparently randomizing the characters in my brain at this point.
Okay, we did see Black Hole come out.
And we saw Life 2 not work. And we got another nuke to the face.
Nercat is starting his little walk up to the Z fight.
Well, Jazer's on to Rocks mode. He just has to get this down before disaster strikes. Gonna do a direct cast of nuke. And that's the crack, bang, and boom. So that's GG's for Jazer. GG, 135-13. And even though this is a 60 out of 17 seed for Jazer, I mean, this looked like it was a really efficient clear and just avoided a lot of the red herrings that the moon presented.
Yeah, and Jazer also dodged that Ordeals.
It dodge Ordeals. Yeah, I mean, for having pretty much everything, it's only an hour and 35 minutes in, including got that Z fight down without really much of a grind at all. I mean, at Palom was, you know, not exactly the strongest there, and it's like Edge was not really at a helpful level. It's like it's a little bit could be a little bit janky as it was in the first go, but GG.
Potentially, like the only real significant time loss might have been that Queen CPU fight, because that didn't give anything really, and was a bit longer.
Yeah, true, and you know maybe you could have done less on the overworld, although again, skipping Ordeals is probably the biggest time saver there. But anyways, even though this is a VOD review, as you probably see in the chat, Jazer and Nirukad have been hanging out in the chat with us, and Jazer's going to stop in for a brief little interview here in a minute. So just something to look forward to as we're wrapping this up a little bit. Also, don't go anywhere because after we're done with the interview, we also have the awards presentation for the heroes, and we'll be naming who is the hero of basically the season. Which, based on the criteria, was supposed to be the hero with the fastest average time among the racers who did them all. So, we'll be finding out, was it? Oh, ending in the air means we're joined by Jazer. GG.
Thank you.
So, what do you think of this particular seed with having ambidextrous and having quite a bit of power on the early going?
Yeah, it was fun to be able to take Evelyn right off the bat, and just from there had the X-Cal right and just kind of ran over the seed with Kain.
Yeah, and it looks like based on your routing, you avoided most of the rather hilarious pitfalls this seed particularly happened to offer on the moon.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yes, the moon was basically nothing but holy swords. I think by my count, I had 7 or 8 crystal swords and about 4 X-Cals by the time I was done with the moon, because I went to the moon first, and as you kind of know, as we saw on the stream, the moon held absolutely nothing of any value.
Yeah, I'm generally Team Never Moon if possible, but especially with how
And-
much is in Sylph, there was just chase the objective.
Yep, and Sylph, I mean, Sylph doesn't always work out, but I mean, it worked out very well for you this time around, and yeah, Team Never Moon does win quite a few seeds. So, very good routing. I mean, I think really other than the CPU, which was a little bit of a disappointing thing with the time spent there, I mean, everything else seemed like it was just pretty much, you know, logical check after logical check, and you just kind of avoid all the pitfalls.
Yeah, when I have the power, I like to try and just do the Fey March all in one go, so that I don't have to go back. But obviously the CPU didn't work out. But by that logic, I should have skipped the gauntlet at the king spot. But that obviously paid out.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Anyways,
you had to at least take it, make sure it wasn't like the water had, because that would have been nice and free. But
yeah, for sure.
yeah, I mean, it definitely had the value there. I mean, Fade March is one of those other things where it's like if it has the value, it can win you the seed because it's a very popular fade.
Yeah, definitely.
Any overall thoughts on the club season and how it went? Hope you had fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I like Sea Hero, especially awkward heroes like Kain or Eddie. Although Eddie's a little bit interesting sometimes. Been some
I
good
think
seeds and clips and seeds for the tournament flag sets with some Eddies that are a little bit rough. I shared one. Someone else
that
a hard one.
that doesn't surprise me actually, especially when you have no cursed on and like there is literally nothing you can do to solve Eddie's agility other than make him faster than he already is, which is usually half the problem in the first place.
Yeah, or figure out a way to speed up everyone else.
Artie bows, lots and lots of Artie bows.
Yeah, crystal rings, arty bows, whatever you can do.
Definitely. Uh, uh, yeah, thanks for joining the club the whole season and volunteering for the VOD reviews. It's always great to have your participation on these. I hope you had fun. Hope you'll join us again for season 3, assuming that Golbez doesn't get either sued or killed in the meantime.
Yeah, probably. We'll see. I'm going to be running some of the tournament seeds. I don't know if I'll actually join. It's just timing's hard. Like today, we would have done the live stream, but I had to feed my kids and take a kid somewhere, and I have to pick them up soon. So we'll just see how it goes.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things about Async Club. It's like it's hard to get a live one to going together. I mean, it was we made an attempt at it, but one of these days maybe it'll work. Hey, it's life comes first, and especially it's like I think your kids might object if you didn't feed them. So definitely happy kids and happy wife or whatever your situation is there would be definitely great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. She's just off somewhere else, but yeah.
Yeah, well, as we say, life. But all right, GG again. Any last thoughts before we let you go with your night?
No, not really. I didn't see. I stopped watching the restream for a bit. Did Nurkon take a wipe, or is the Z fight just taking a while?
No, this is his first Z fight. It's just that he got in there quite a few minutes after you did.
Okay.
Because he did take a couple checks that you didn't. Like he did take, I think, Ordeals, did take the Baron Basement.
I didn't take Baron at all. He took it for sure.
Yeah, he did take Baron. So I mean, a couple extra fights. I mean, that's pretty much the difference between the two of you in this one.
Yeah, I think he turned into pass around the time you hit Meteor phase.
Okay.
And there's the crack in the boom for Nerocot. So GG to Nerocot, and GG to both of you who finished first and second respectively, because everyone else around us, including me, got turned around by that moon being in play early and thought there would be value up there, and boy, were we all wrong. So,
GG's. It happens.
It does. But anyways, I hope you'll stick around for a few more minutes for the award presentation, because we've got a small little thing there for our heroes, the last 5 who decided to run all these things, however much they might not have wanted to. So we're just going to give them a little love here, and we'll go on with things from there.
Okay. I'll try to stick around. If I can't, I'll catch the VOD. I do have somewhere I have to be in like 10 minutes. So we'll see how
Oh
it
yeah,
goes.
that's totally fine. You can always watch the replay of it later on YouTube or whatever else if you don't catch it all. So
Yeah. Cool.
all right.
Thank you.
So, anyways, Joker Mage, just a little bit of housekeeping with the club. Anyways, so there were 2 quest packages never picked. There was Are We There Yet, which was basically a bunch of out of the way spots: Giant of Babel, Moss's Mooney Altar, Sealed Cave, Barren Castle, Zot, and Magnus. A lot of the checks people don't like to do. And then there was another one called I'm Shocked, which I have no idea what I was thinking about this one. That was Magnus, Magma Key, defeat Odin, defeat Golbez, and complete Cave Bahamut. Kind of a random hodgepodge there. And the two wackies you never saw on stream or any of the seeds, there was the show wacky in a green envelope. That was payable Golbez, so you could have just paid to get rid of all the fights for free if you had the money. And the other one was stream in the white envelope, and that was is this even, where basically all of your damage values are rounded up to some nice round figure. So, anyways, there was that. And now for the awards presentation. So let's go to the campfire over here. We've got a little podium set up for second and third place. In third place, we have Kain, who just ran this particular seed. The total time here from our 5 club racers was about uh, 10 minutes slower than the second place finisher, which was Edge. And so, Kain, come on up and get your bronze medal. Don't look so glum about the whole thing. You know, he had ambidextrous, and he had crystal sword, but you know. Anyways, let's see. Second place was Edge, about 12 minutes faster overall and total time than Kain seed went, which was the seed before this one. And meanwhile, blowing everyone away was the Pelham seed, which was almost 100 minutes faster than even Edge's seed went. So GG to Pelham. Come on up and get your gold medal, such as it were, and you know, try not to do anything crazy like try to make it a whoopee cushion or something like that. Uh, so again, we're gonna have Golbez over here present the medals and such. Uh, and we'll see, where is Golbez anyways? Come on. Got a treasure chest. It's sort of bouncing around over here by the campfire as Golbez and has made Kain run away with our Palom again. Don't know what's going on there. Do you have the key for this treasure chest? Oh,
Here, it's one of these on this ring I got from the boss. Here, take this one. Try it.
hey, it's a Golbez in a chest. What the heck is going on here? That was the assistant. Hmm? Um, okay, I guess we had technical difficulties in the last one there.
Kain, you have been wronged. You deserve more. Usurp the boy and take your rightful place above all.
Kain! Ugh, always technical difficulties in these productions. So, anyways, we've had Kain kidnap our first place finisher Palom and has run off to do who knows what. Let's see. There's a note left behind here. Along the lines of Kain is going to get his revenge. This is supposed to be Golbez's revenge, and there's a treasure chest over here, sort of bouncing all over the place. Oh, why is there Golbez in a chest? Dastardly assistant who stuffed me here before the race. Shouldn't have trusted him. Ugh, he became a little too quick. All right. Well, anyways, sorry for the technical difficulties on that one, folks. But given that we still have a little bit of time before the tournament starts, bonus content. Kain has decided to listen to the voices in his head again, which may or may not be Golbez's assistant in this case, running the show. And there will be another seat dropping at some point to deal with rescuing our hero Palom from the evil clutches of Kain. So stay tuned for some more information about how that's going to end up working. I have to actually vet a seed for this and make sure it's actually not going to be a slog. And maybe, possibly, if it works out, we might try to do that live later on as sort of like a little bit of funsies type of thing. Uh, but GG's to all of our club racers and to Matic, who was the overall winner of the playoff seeds with the fastest time. And GG to, again, Radio Caller, our restreamer, Breatham pressing the buttons, Joker Mage with me here in the comms booth, also providing some nice creative content for the club's lore, and being willing to embrace the dark side, at least for lore purposes. Joker?
I don't know what you mean. I am Golbez.
Hmm. Well, you are wearing the armor, I suppose. But here's the thing. He's got a birthmark. Want to lift up your shirt?
I'm wearing heavy armor. I can't lift it up. And looks like I have an appointment at the comedy show. Bye.
All right. Well, anyways, thank you for joining us here on for Enterprise for our Survivor Hero Island VOD review. My name is Garen again, club captain, and hopefully you had fun joining us all for the season and the somewhat silly lore and goings on. We're done here for the evening, but we do invite you to join us the next race on the Free Enterprise channel, which is going to be the Lunar Racing Club tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on this same channel. So please feel free to join us again for another exciting race.
Hopefully,
And
the moon will actually have something on that since it is a lunar racing club.
just because we name things doesn't mean that they have any bearing on what's actually there. um, and once again, thank you to Joker Mage, to Radio Caller, to Gretham. It's been fun, y'all. I appreciate all of the help that goes into making this happen, and all of the racers and viewers. We wouldn't have anything here without you. So have a good night, all. Thank you very much.